Hello, I'm Grant Lee from JH306 and I will be presenting on option 2 landmarks. So here are 5 landmarks which have symbolic significance in To Kill a Mockingbird. Firstly, the Radley Place. This is Boo Radley's tree hole. Boo Radley left items in this hole for Jim and Scout. These items are namely the chewing gum, pennies, grey twine, miniature sculptures, a medal, pocket watch, and a knife. The Radley Place. A quote from To Kill a Mockingbird states, "From the Radley chicken yard, tall pecan trees shook their fruit into the schoolyard, but the nuts lay untouched by the children. Radley pecans will kill you." This is a picture of the Radley house with closed shutters and doors. The shutters and doors of the Radley house were closed on Sundays. Another thing that was alien to Maycom's ways. Closed doors in Maycomb only meant illness or cold weather. So children avoid the Radley Place. Scout courageously faces the unknown and eventually finds out more about the Radley Place. So the Radley Place signifies the mysterious unknown aspects of our society that is outstanding against the rest of the society. People isolate these odd aspects of the society, which usually store the answers to many intriguing questions. People are afraid of things they are unfamiliar with. So, a place like this in Singapore will be the old Changi Commando Barracks, and I will share more about this place in a story. Aaron, Bob, and Clarence are 3 best friends, always adventurous and elated for new journeys. One day, Aaron asked Bob and Clarence, "Hey dudes, what do you guys say about taking a walk around the old Changi Commando Barracks tonight? I heard it's haunted." A smile immediately spread across Bob's face, while Clarence had a feeling that something would go wrong. That night, the 3 of them managed to get into the restricted compounds by going through some vegetation that was not guarded by fences. The 3 men lifted their heads to stare at the 2-story colonial-style barracks. It was built in 1935 and used to house the British officers, and was later used by the Japanese during the Japanese occupation. Clarence pointed at the top of the building, and the 3 of them saw a bird-like stain that resembled a face with a pair of blazing eyes. According to a story, 3 medicine men had brought a lighted candle to the barracks, but the flame appeared to be pressed down by some unseen force. They located the entity responsible for this phenomenon, the bird. All at once, the medicine men froze in their tracks and refused to enter the barracks. Bob pointed at an area below the bird and wondered aloud, "Is it just me, or is there a wall behind that wall there? Why one wall built over the other?" According to a legend, the wall behind had a drawing of a devilish face that refused to go away even after several paint overs. Every time it was covered with paint, it reappeared a few days later, gradually, until it was back in its original clarity. Strange sightings were also spotted near the wall. A Taoist priest was eventually called in. He reasoned that due to the extreme negativities of the area, according to a feng shui theory, the wall had become a portal to the netherworld. 2 stone lions were later erected beside the wall to guard it, but the face never went away. The extra wall was meant to hide it. Aaron dragged the 2 men into the barracks and up the stairs, where they all got shivers upon sight of the falling paint and broken windows. It reminded them of haunted houses. They navigated around using high-performance torchlights. The first thing they saw on the 2nd floor was the toilet. Before taking a look at the run-down cubicles and urinals, Aaron told his friends to stay very silent and listen as they trod. He told his friends, "Some people have supposedly heard soft crying and wailing sounds near this area." As they walked, Aaron turned his head slowly towards the cubicle and saw a white figure in it. Guys, I don't think we should. Clarence's sentence never finished, as the torchlights extinguished all at once. So, the second area that I would like to discuss about in To Kill a Mockingbird, which has symbolic significance, will be Jem and Scout's treehouse. This is the treehouse where Scout and Jem had spent their childhood here with Dill. Jem and Scout's treehouse represents peace and childhood innocence because it is hidden from the troubles of the rest of the world. It is a place of tranquility where Jem retreats to reflect in, and a safe haven where children can escape for a short break from life and play in. This is also where Scout spies on the schoolyard from the treehouse. A place similar to this in Singapore would be the VivoCity Sky Park. I will present more about this in a story. So, just a month ago, things were happier. Aaron, Bob and Clarence were walking around in VivoCity for the first time in their lives. Aaron, the most adventurous of all three, suddenly told them, "Hey guys, let's go up to the Sky Park upstairs. I heard it's quite pretty." They agreed to it unanimously. The Sky Park was built atop of VivoCity and was launched together with the letter on the 1st of December 2006. There, they saw a number of teenagers by the poolside, deep in thought. The soft ambience of the setting gave them the perfect atmosphere to think about the more complicated aspects of their life. Bob commented, "Wow, what a place of tranquility. Perfect for teenagers to retreat to reflect in." They moved on and saw another group of teenagers actively participating in a lively game. Clarence commented, "The VivoCity Sky Park serves as a place where teenagers can escape for a short break from the stress of life and play in." Looking on his right, he spotted children playing in the pool, and it is hidden from the troubles of the rest of the world too. Aaron took his friends to the edge of the Sky Park. He said, "Here you can obtain a panoramic view of Sentosa and Singapore Cruise Centre and watch an amazing sunset." "Hey, this place reminds me of somewhere." "You thinking what I'm thinking?" Bob and Clarence replied together. "I think I'm thinking what you're thinking. This is like Jem and Scout's treehouse in To Kill a Mockingbird." So the next location that I would like to talk about in To Kill a Mockingbird, which has symbolic significance, would be the First Purchase Church. The First Purchase Church has no piano or organ, but however, the black people in the First Purchase Church also could not afford hymn books, so Zibo would then have to read from one book and everyone would sing what he said. And in the First Purchase Church, Negroes worshipped on Sundays. So the First Purchase African ME Church, aka the First Purchase Church, signifies a poor but united and dignified community. It is also open, in fact, to white children to join too, namely in the book Jem and Scout. The First Purchase Church belongs to a group of racially discriminated, or in that sense, different people. So, a place in Singapore that resembles the First Purchase Church would be Peninsula Plaza, which I will talk about more in the form of a story again. So, the previous year on Racial Harmony Day, Aaron, Bob and Clarence had decided to visit a place in Singapore that houses the culture of a particular race in order to appreciate their culture further. Knowledgeable Aaron told his friends, "Dudes, come on, Little India, Kampong Glam and Chinatown are way too mainstream. I know of a place that belongs to Burmese people, well, somewhat." They agreed to go to this place. When they reached their destination, They realized where it was. A huge sign wrote Peninsula Plaza. Aaron introduced the place to his friends. So, why I say this place belongs to the Burmese is because most of the shops here are run by Burmese people, and most of those customers are Burmese foreign workers. This place has historical meaning to them too, as it dates back to 1981 when it was built. When they entered the plaza, Bob realized a lot of prices were cheaper than the usual price you see out there. Curious, he asked Aaron, "Wow, Aaron, a lot of products here are cheaper than what I've seen. Why is this so?" Aaron replied, "Well, goods are usually cheaper here because the Burmese foreign workers earn less than an average Singaporean. Since these shops cater mostly to these Burmese foreign workers, the prices have to be adjusted so it is affordable for the Burmese foreign workers." Listening, Clarence nodded in agreement. He also realized that there were a few other Chinese and Malay people in the plaza who were welcome to the plaza too. The next place that I would like to talk about would be Miss Molly's house. So, Miss Molly's house burned, right, in To Kill a Mockingbird due to a kitchen fire. However, from the book, a quote states that the old fire truck, killed by the cold, was being pushed from town by a crowd of men. When the man attached its hose to a hydrant, the hose burned and water shot up, tinkling down on the pavement. So this is an image that shows the firemen at work. And Miss Molly's rubber plants were being burnt away from this condition into this condition. So, when asked how she felt about the fire, Miss Molly was in fact very optimistic. She replied the exact words, "Why, I'll build me a little house and take a couple of roomers, and gracious, I'll have the finest yacht in Alabama. Those Bellingraphs will look plain puny when I get started." So Miss Molly signifies optimism even after demolition, and also known as progression after a bad event. A place that resembles these in Singapore would be the KTM railway track. I will also share more on this in the form of a story. So in July this year, Aaron, Bob and Clarence were thinking of going on a heritage tour. As always, Aaron knew of the perfect place to go. He told his buddies, "Hey, have you heard of the KTM railway track? On the 1st of this month, the KTM railway track was officially closed down, and the government has decided to allow Singaporeans to visit this historically significant site. Want to go take a look?" Bob and Clarence immediately felt that this was a great idea and agreed to visit the railway track. Upon reaching the destination, Clarence asked Aaron, "So, tell me a little more about this place." Aaron decided to be a tour guide again and started his description. This railway track used to be run by KTM, that's Kereta Tanah Melayu, which means Malayan Railway in Malay. However, on the 1st of July 2012, the KTM railway track ceased operation. As agreed with Malaysia, the Singapore government will remove the tracks of the KTM railway in Singapore and hand them over to Malaysia. In fact, the KTM railway track is very familiar with many Singaporeans, especially those who always travel to Malaysia and back to Singapore again. While the KTM railway track is being demolished, the Urban Redevelopment Authority is reviewing development plans for the remaining sites occupied by the tracks and the train stations. The URA is also inviting the public to share ideas on shaping the future development of the KTM railway track. Bob nodded in agreement and commented, "Yes, I agree with the government's decisions. Even though a certain location is being taken down, we should be optimistic about it and progress by finding new uses for the space that we now have." The fifth location that I would like to talk about would be the courthouse. So in the courthouse, as described in The Kill a Mockingbird, the whites sat on the main level where it was less hot, while the blacks had to sit on the upper level where it was hotter. A quote states, Tom Robinson was a dead man the minute Mayla Ewell opened her mouth and screamed. This shows how racial discrimination can lead to biasness even in the courthouse, where it's supposed to be fair. The previous images that you have just viewed were straight from America, where the exact same courthouse was rebuilt in To Kill a Mockingbird. So the courthouse signifies inequality and how inequality still exists in a society. The Tom Robinson would be deemed guilty with or without a trial. Either way, punishment will be inflicted on him. This just goes to show how inequality will still exist in society, and even in Singapore. So a place in Singapore where inequality exists is the Internal Security Department, which I will share more about in a form of a story. So back to present time, Aaron, Bob and Clarence woke up in a room with only 4 walls around them. As they slowly regained consciousness, they realized that their hands and legs were cuffed. At that moment, a fierce-looking man dressed in a police uniform stomped in. Immediately, Aaron shouted, "Where are we? Why are you kidnapping us for?" The man banged his hand on the table and said menacingly, "You are in the Internal Security Department and you are under arrest for attempting to destroy Singapore by trespassing into the old Changi Commando Barracks." Bob protested, "But how is entering the private area such a huge crime? It's not like we're terrorists or something." Aaron whispered into timid Clarence's ear. The Internal Security Department is known to use the Internal Security Act to arrest and detain thousands of innocent citizens without court trial. They've got really torturous methods of extracting a confession from you. Oh, here they come. The police officer roared, "Here, in the Internal Security Department, we've got ways to extract a confession from you. Sleep deprivation, prolonged interrogation in courtrooms, solitary confinement, physical beatings and electric shocks. How do you like that? I don't care if you're guilty or innocent. As long as you're here, you are guilty and you will be guilty forever. Of course, you're free to engage a lawyer, but I'm telling you that it's useless too." Aaron became frightened and screamed, "There are so many people protesting against the Internal Security Act out there. You guys will get your retribution soon, very soon." And with that, the 3 of them were dragged away, possibly to the end of their lives. So I've come to the end of my presentation. So as a summary, the 5 locations in To Kill a Mockingbird which have symbolic significance are the Redley Place, Gem and Scout's Treehouse, the First Baptist Church, Miss Molly's house, and lastly, the courthouse. And these places are mirrored in Singapore too, respectively the Redley Place and the old Changi Commando Barracks, the Vivo City Sky Park mirroring Gem and Scout's Treehouse, the Peninsula Plaza mirroring the First Baptist Church, KTM railway track like Miss Molly's house, and the Internal Security Department resembling the courthouse. Thank you for your attention.